What is going on, guys? We are back for another video today. We are playing 1-2 Circus Mix. See, we're playing Badesi right now. Badoogie Doo, Drama Ha Deuce to 7, Stud High Low Regular, Badusi Deuce to 7, Drama Ha High, and Stud 8 or better. Alright, first hand here we got an under the gun raise. Just kind of looking at all the players where they're from. Got some bunch of new players as of recently. We got 3-bet here. I was going to defend the 2-3. I wasn't going to draw to the 8 against an under the gun player yet, but we're going to fold just in case. Sorry about that. So Badesi here, ace to 5. Best hand is 5-4-3-2-1. Best Badoogie is 4-3-2-1. Aces only play high in this game. Straights don't count against you for the ace to 5 portion. Flushes are, if you make a flush in this game, you don't want to flush in this game because it's Badoogie too. So if you have a flush, you're in a lot of trouble. Because you have a 1 card and a card that, well, actually, sorry, that's not true. I totally misspoke. I'm thinking deuce to 7. You can have a flush. You can have 5-4-3-2-1, all of one suit. But you only have a 1 card for the Badoogie. So if you're dealt a pat wheel, yes, you want to jam that hand, try to get some fold equity. But in general, like this hand, this is actually a really good hand to show this one. He almost has a flush, but he's got a 2 card. He's got a 4 ace for the 2 card. But he can't win the Badoogie at all. But he's got the number 2 low, which is really strong. So usually in like ace to 5, you would say like most, obviously a wheel is the best hand. 6s are strong. 7s depending on where you are, because there's a lot of 7s involved in there. They're usually pretty good hands, but it just kind of default. It depends on where you fall in the distribution, because I'm not quite sure how many 7s there are off the top of my head. I think number 7 is the best 7, and then I'm not sure where the 7 high straight falls, because the worst 7 is 7-6-5-4-3. But in Badesi, it has a little bit more value depending on your Badoogie, because there's 2 pots in this game. There's technically no qualifier in this game, meaning any ace to 5, the best ace to 5 hand and the best Badoogie hand will always split the pot. Unlike Stud 8 or better or Omaha 8 or better, there's a qualifier for low, but in this one there's no qualifier for low. And now we're at Badoogie. Badoogie is a 4 card triple draw game. Best hand is 4-3-2-1. All different suits. Pairs do count against you, so you can't have like a 3-3-2-1. All different suits, that means you just have a 3 card. You don't have a Badoogie. And you always count from your highest card down. In all these triple draw games, you always count from your high card down. Oh boy. This is the one we go for. We have the 4 diamonds, the 4 baby diamonds. And this one is just where we try to bluff this one. And unlike some of the other bluffs where we just give up, this is one where we attempt to get it through. So if you want to know what your natural bluffs look like, it looks like a hand just like this. Because you're going to get this hand dealt a lot less than, say, like a 6 Badoogie. And, you know, at the 1-2 level, like here I'm going to go for it just because for the video. Because, again, like, oh, he did. Wow. He did break. Let's see if we can get this one through. I don't know if we are or not. I don't expect to get called by a 3 card. We got it through. All right. I feel like I haven't got one of those through in a long time. But you're going to get dealt like a 4 flush, 6 or under. So less often than like a 6 Badoogie. Probably even like a 5 Badoogie. Because if you look at the combinations of... I think there's 24. There's like 24 combinations of a Badoogie, I believe. So 4, 3, 2, 12. 12, is that right? 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So actually, there might be 12. I thought there were 24 combinations of a Badoogie. I might be wrong. But there's only like 4 combinations of a 4 flush. So, no, there's 4. Let me think about that. There's 4 combinations of a 4 flush, but there's how many combinations of Badoogie? There's 4, then 3, then 2. Yeah, 4, then 3, then 2. Oh, yeah, 4, then 3, then 2. Yeah, that's 24. So there's 24 combinations of a Badugi of a specific combination. If you look at the wheel combinations, right, like 4, 3, 2, 1, there's 24 combinations of the different suits that can make a wheel. There's only 4 flushes. So you get dealt the Badugi 6 times more often than you get dealt a 4 flush. So if you even think about that, if you get dealt a wheel Badugi something like 12,500 to 1, so every like 12,500 hands, you get dealt a wheel flush Badugi 6 times rarer. So 12 times... Now I'm putting myself on the spot here with the math. I'll just even do the math here. Where's the math? Where's my calculator? Where's my calculator? There's no history yet. I'm going to use this one. Do 6 here. We're just going to fold. But 12,000... Where's this? 12,500 times 6. So yeah, it's something like, there you go, 75,001 that you get dealt the 4 flush Badugi. It's just so rare. So yeah, it makes like a good candidate to bluff the hand, I would say. If you're gonna go that route, you don't even have to do it, honestly. It's in games where you're just going to get like shown down Badugis over and over again, it's a spot where I don't even recommend doing it. But occasionally, yeah, it's a good hand to do it. I usually say in my games, if I'm going to go for it, I usually want like 4 cards 8 or under. I don't just take like the King, Queen, Jack, 10, all 4 suits, because like you're not blocking your opponents from making good hands. You're blocking them from making like bad hands. You're not blocking them from making good hands per se. Ace 4 7 here. Most likely we play this hand unless there's a lot of action. Yeah, we're going to call here in the small blind. Sorry, I haven't been commenting on the hands. I was talking about Badugi bluff theory. 1-1 here, Ace 4 7. At this range probably should be just a little bit stronger, so we're going to check. He checks back. I'm going to discard the 4. I'd say in these limit games in general, like we probably have some showdown value with the Ace 4 7, and very similar here. Like I usually turn my hand into a bluff a lot of times with the pair Doogie, depending on like what my 3 card is, and that was a good one to consider doing it. But again, I still think I have showdown value because at like a 1-2 game, I think your opponent's can be a lot wider. Like I expect my opponent to be betting if he's got some showdown value with like 3 card 6 or under. So I actually think like the 3 card 7 there actually has some showdown value. So I don't feel like I necessarily have to turn my hand into a bluff when I have showdown value. Now we're playing Deuce to 7 Dramaha. So in Deuce to 7 Dramaha, there is again always 2 pots. The best low hand. So again, the best Deuce to 7 hand, so 7, 5, 4, 3, 2 will get half the pot, and then the best 5 card Omaha hand that you can make with that hand will get the other half of the pot. So you're always looking for hands that have strong low draws. Like this one here, he's got a 9, 7, 5, 4, 3. That's really strong. The opponent, your CC over here, he paired his 8s, but he flopped a set. So in that situation, he definitely has enough equity to get his hand to showdown. It's just one of those situations where he knows he's going to lose half the pot. Now the question is how much money is in the pot, and does he have enough equity to continue even though he's getting free rolled? And that's actually a really good question, and it's a really good test, I would say, for a lot of people, because if you don't even know what your equity is and what the pot's giving you to call down, then you definitely need to be doing some work in these spots. Because if you don't even know if you're getting the right price to call down with a set, getting free rolled, it definitely means I think a little bit of study is warranted. Huh? Oh, he was playing the wrong game. Unless he was trying to bluff this hand. I don't think he was trying to bluff this hand. I think he was just playing the wrong game. So he was playing... it looked like he was playing Dramaha high instead of Deuce to 7. we go 2-1. Now, given the action pre-flop, I don't think you should be drawing too often. And the other reason why is, like, if this person raises and this person calls, and again, if I will destroy this name if I try to say it, so I will not. We'll say taunt. There we go, taunt. If taunt's flat calling here, like a lot of times, a lot of the low cards you need to actually make a good hand drawing too is kind of like taken for, especially with one draw. So maybe from the big blind you have like some options to consider doing it, but I think from the small blind, especially out of position the entire hand, it's a little bit optimistic. I'm gonna fold this one. Aces are good in most games, not in all of them. Taunt opens, CC calls, check, check. You do see a fair bit of checking. Oh, they both take two. Interesting. You do see a fair bit of checking on the flop, depending on like what your hand is. Like, do you connect with the board or not? Like, even if you have a draw like 2, 3, 4, 5, and the board is, you know, King 10, 8 or Jack 10, 8 or something like that. I mean, if you don't block any of the strong hands, it's much more likely that your opponent connects with that board. And a lot of times they're free rolling you with that specific hand too. So even though you have a strong draw at low, like if you don't connect with the board, you know, a lot of times you should be checking to try to make a lowish hand. Because, yeah, taunt does leave. So we're gonna fold this hand here with the ace king in our hand against another gun raise. Drawing two there, I think, is pretty optimistic, even though we have a pretty pure deuce draw. Now here in this situation, like I have a double suited draw, like I have Jack 8, 9, 3. If shaky 3-bets, we fold. I think this is actually kind of a close call, because our low necessarily isn't our low draw necessarily isn't that great, but we have a double suited and the draw itself is actually quite strong. Here we're gonna go ahead and check. Now in this situation, like even though I have double suited, like I would throw the 9 of spade away because I have the 9 of diamonds, meaning like I would like to draw to a 9 high flush draw as well. The other thing too is like, well, now it's interesting because of luck bets and he calls, he's representing a flush already. So like in this spot, like it most likely he's representing like a low flush or maybe a 10 high flush. So I'm actually just going to go throw my hand away, because now Owl probably has a better low draw than me is my guess. I mean, he could have the ace high flush here too. And if I had two pair, like if my hand was Jack 7, I would probably call because I have a full house draw as well. But just with a pair of jacks on a monotone board, I think we're just folding. It did go 1-1, but yeah, we lose in that spot. And then he did have the ace high flush, so more often than not, we're like kind of drawing for half, and that's why I would say like if I had two pair in that situation, I would peel. Deuce with a king queen in the hole. This is just a fold with a 3 behind. Like, we got to give up. We can't steal every single time. But we're playing stud high low regular. Basically, this game is dealt like Raz. You deal it just like ace to 5 Raz. The difference is like 8 or better stud, there's a qualifier. In this one, there's no qualifier, meaning the high hand will always get half. The low hand, no matter what the low is, it could be, you know, a king low. If the king low is the best low, it's going to get half the pot. And the action is pushed, like I said, just like Raz. So the low hand goes first. Like this, he's got a 6, 4, 3, 1 on his board, so he's going to be doing the betting first. Interesting that Owl folded his hand. He guess he just had 5s. He had a lot of blockers though too, so kind of interesting. I guess he made an okay fold because Shaky didn't have a pair behind him, it looks like. Ace 4-8 here, definitely going to open with the ace. Ace is the joker in this game. Any of these like high-low regular games, like the ace is just such a joker because it's the highest high card, it's the lowest low card. If you can find one, you definitely want one. So we have split 7s with an ace up and a 2 flush. We're definitely going to open this one. We have a 5 and a 3 behind. Those are the only 2 cards that realistically can call us. But this hand just plays totally fine. Yeah, and then again, like it's kind of dealt like Raz, and you actually play it very similarly to Raz. Like if you are pushing if you have a good low board, you're usually pushing that. There are situations where it might not necessarily make sense to. They're few and far between. So usually if you have a good Raz board, you're betting, you're betting, you're betting. I might have to go check on my baby here in a little bit. See, like this is a good example. Like here he's got 3 cards 9 and under with suit, so he's just pushing. He's pushing regardless. Like he's staring at a 3 flush over here, but they both kind of have the ace. The ace is just such a good hand because like he obviously has the nut flush draw and the 9-8 ace. The ace plays as a low card too. Owl opens here with a 3. No need to 2-bet because I expect these players behind me to fold, and I do have an ace in my hand. 3 deuces, obviously really strong, especially suited. We're gonna peel once. I wouldn't be calling here with like, would not be calling here without like the ace in the hole. Like if I had 8-7 deuce, I'd probably just fold. But now he catches 2-3-5. Obviously, it's a really strong board. We're just gonna give it up. Like we definitely could have the best hand here with like ace queen high, but or even the best low with ace queen. But again, it's one of those situations where like your reverse implied odds are just so bad, and realizing your equity is not necessarily the easiest thing to do. Now we're on to Badusi. So Badusi, the best combination is 7-5-4-3-2, and the best Badugi is 5-4-3-2 Rainbow. So kind of like building off of that for the most part. Aces are high only in this game. Aces don't play low in this game, and straights and flushes for the deuce to 7 do count against you. We got a 1-1 spot here with 1 draw remaining. We got a pat 0. And we got pat 2 pats. So I expect this hand to be a little bit rougher, like something like a 9-9 or 10-10. Or maybe like a good low with like a 3 card. And then very similar to this hand when he checks. And he folds. Interesting, he folds. That might just be like a bad low hand that has like no Badugi. Or like no showdown Badugi. Like even if you don't have a Badugi in this game, if you have a good 3 low card, you still have some showdown value most of the time. Now, if there's a lot of action up to a point, that can definitely change. But generally, if you have a good 3 card, I would say like in a heads-up situation, a lot of times you're still taking that to showdown. So 1-1 goes check, check. Probably going to go 1-1 again. And now Owl, I think, probably has, I was going to say slight edge. Ooh, well, he made a big hand. He made number 2, number 2. So this is the second best Badugi, 6-4-3-2, and the second best low, 7-6-4-3-2. Deuce 3-5 is a really strong hand, open from any position kind of thing. The only question here is, do you keep the 8 or not? And it's probably just going to depend on like what action happens. Like usually if it's like a 4-way pot, I usually break the 8. If it's a 7 and it's a wheel draw pure, I'm probably going to keep it. If we're heads up, I'm probably just going to draw 1 because I actually have some fold equity on later streets. Yeah, and like obviously I have the best 3 card right now with the 2-3-5. So my Badugi's still strong. But like if he bricks out, I'm just going to get a lot of folds just like that. So like if I take 2 in that situation, I think my opponent's more likely to call. So you actually add a little bit of fold equity in there by taking 1 versus 2. I think the hands are like relatively close one way or the other. But again, like if you're in a multi-way pot, I think drawing at the Badugi is probably better. Now button opens here. And we're going to call. The only question is how we're going to defend this hand. But I think I'm just going to draw out of position here to the 2-5. So we have a deuce of spades, an 8 of spades, and a 7 of diamonds. We make a 3-card 6. This would be an extremely strong hand in Badusi, but unfortunately we're playing Badusi. So we're going to go ahead and call. We're going to draw 2 again. and we make an extremely strong hand again. We make a 6 Badugi and an 8 low. Now, just because I made this hand doesn't necessarily mean like this is the line that you should take every single time. Drawing like 2 as opposed to like 1 the previous one, but we do get really lucky here and we make a 6 Badugi and an 8 low. So, and then we got called in the river by 3 card 4, or even like he might have had a King Badugi, which is basically the exact same hand. Like that doesn't mean anything, but I would have probably done the same thing, honestly, when you go 2 to pat. And when you do go 2 to pat and you kind of have like a, so we have a 3 card 8 in this situation. We have 8, 5, 6 against a cutoff open. We're going to call. Again, like this hand induced to 7 on its own is not strong enough. But in Badusi, because it's got potential in both directions, we're going to call even out of position. And we brick the first draw. And against, now we improve our hand to actually 5, 6, 7, but out of position here. And we don't necessarily have a good 3 card that has enough showdown value. We're just going to go ahead and check fold our hand. But it's one of those situations where, like, again, if you kind of look at it, how much you're making here by calling, like, you might be folding, I would say, now this is a situation here where most likely we're going to raise and keep 1. Very similar, like we're in position. We do not improve. It looks like we might improve, but we don't. So we have the 3 card 8 with a an 8, 4 draw. It goes 1, 1. So now if we get the opportunity, we're going to check back. If I had like a 3 card 4 in this situation with an 8 draw, I think betting was probably a thin bet is good. But with a 3 card 8, I don't think so. And now we actually improve our hand pretty significantly. We make a 3 card 5 and 8 low. It looked like our opponent might have had probably had a 9 deuce and just paired 9s. But I actually think his hand, Dramaha high, and we're dealt a flush. Very strong. So I actually think his hand probably would have been a good bluff bet on the river because he can't win a showdown with the 9s. So, and I never have like a doogie there when I check back, most likely. So interesting here, depending on like what we do. When we get 3-bet, we're just going to go ahead and 4-bet. And the reason why is like, if this player folds, it's not a bad thing. Because like, if you look at the makeup of my hand right now, like I have a flush and that's fine. But it's like not a great Omaha hand. Like, yeah, we flop top pair here with queen. But it's not like... Oh, he was playing the wrong game. I guess it's good for me. Yeah, got to be careful when we're playing like 5 card games back to back. We do not make a full house, but we do make trip queens. So he did make kings, but he was obviously playing the wrong game. And he had a flush draw. He had a lot of outs actually. He was winning. I got really lucky on the river. He was winning the Omaha hand with kings. 2 8s here. We're going to defend. We have a king too, so we're going to check. We're going to call with the 8s. And the only question is how we continue with this. And I think we're going to keep the king 8 8. Gives us a little high potential on the board. And we make kings and queens with 8s. So now we're going to check and we're going to call. We don't necessarily love at this point, but with 2 pair we're kind of stuck, and we're just going to check and call. He does have 3 queens. He's going to scoop me. That's a... Yeah, his hand, he missed a bet there for sure. His hand's a clear bet. Like, I'm not sure what he's afraid of. He's afraid of a straight somehow, but like even if I have a straight, then even if I have a straight in that situation, then his high should win with 2 queens in his hand. And I for sure would have called him with the 8s in my hand and top 2 pair on that board. Deuces here on the button here, I think is just a fold. Even if Al decides to open into me. It's a rotation here. Dramaha, stud, Badesi. So we started with Badesi for like 1 hand. I guess we'll get through that. Show them how high here with 5s. This is going to be, I believe, a fold here from the cutoff. Now, when you have like the, I would say middling pairs too, like it's obviously very beneficial when you have the overcard kickers. So like if I had two, say, 9s here with like an ace and a king, it's obviously beneficial for my hand because I block my opponents from having like aces or kings. It goes 2-2. Most likely, like both players have pairs with flush draws. That's usually what it represents. Someone could have like Jack, Jack 9 or Jack, Jack King. Al has a very strong hand here. He's got kings up with a nut flush draw. He's going to scoop. Nothing here. King high, we're just going to fold. All right, stud 8 or better. Flip this hand. Stud 8 or better. Again, so there's basically two pots here. One is we're playing stud high, and the second one we're playing, if you qualify for low, 8 or better, there is a low portion. You need 5 cards, 8 or under unpaired in your hand. So good example of that, like the wheel is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All those cards, they're unpaired. We got a nice little walk there. It's lovely. King 3, 5 here, we're just going to fold with the 4 bring in. If I had an ace in my hand and a wheel card, I'm more likely to steal. But in stud 8 or better, you're usually looking for the low cards to come in or high pairs. High pairs definitely have value, but what's the word? Realizing your equity with them is a lot tougher. 4-4 queen in a short-handed spot. I'm going to fold. I think that's close, but I'm not like pushing a ton of equity against those ranges. Like even if I threw that into a calculator, my guess is against like just random ranges, I'm not necessarily like pushing that much. Actually, see if I can find a with an ace up. I think this is kind of a license to steal in a 3-handed stud 8 or better game. And it's kind of one of those things too, where like if your board gets better too, you just get to like kind of push your equity. Now, 5th street here, when my opponent calls 4th. My opponent calls 4th street, and basically he just caught the or Owl just caught the best card for their range here. Like I think it's just a pretty clear check and give up with 2 bricks in the hole. Like a lot of times you want to keep bluffing, but in that spot it doesn't make much sense. But AC, we're just going to fold deuce 8. Got a 2 card or a 3 card in this situation, but I usually just go with the 2 card. So I don't usually keep the ace 4, 5. But AC here, no, just gonna fold. We got a 1 card. What is the rotation? I think Badoogie. We start with Badoogie. Oh yeah, we got the 4 flush with the 6. So we'll play the Daisy round and just kind of see where we're at. 3-6 here. Against a button open, we're folding, and if it folded to, probably open. Oh, I was going to run that. Let's see if I can find my equity calculator somewhere. Again, this is technically like hot and cold equity. But I'm just kind of curious. I'll let you guys know what it was. As I'm trying to watch and describe the action too. Owl is usually representing a Badoogie in this situation, like a strong Badoogie. Yeah, I mean, he could have a pat hand too, but and yeah, he had a wheel Badoogie and a 7 low, and Owl had a wheel in ace to 5. So definitely, they definitely played their hands correct in that spot. my hand, I had I think 4 spades, queen of spades, and like the 4 hearts up. Okay, let's see what we got. Ace 2 6 here. We're gonna definitely defend. We're probably gonna 3-bet against owl. Yep, fold. All right, short-handed here. I'll read these off for you, just in case anyone really wants to know. 5 9 9. Okay, so my hand basically has, in running it in kind of an equity simulator, and again, like these equity simulators are not necessarily like, it shows you obviously like your equity if it just runs the hand out, but in reality, like obviously there's a lot of playability. Badoogie here with a 2-card 5 we're going to open. But you got to realize, like, obviously a lot of board textures we're not going to realize our equity. So my hand with 4 queen 4 in that situation against a random queen and a random deuce, we have roughly 37%, meaning obviously if we're splitting our equity evenly, it's 33%. So we have a slight equity edge in that situation, but it's just one of those hands that's like really hard to play, depending on your opponent's skill level. Obviously, 3-card 7 in this situation. I'm just gonna go ahead and check back. I have like 9 draws and 8 draws and stuff like that. So he's got 8 Badoogie. He was going for the check raise, and we dodged it. Play Badoogie. I can go help here in a second. Yeah, maybe we'll play the drama. Good news is rake is low here. Mentioning that if you guys are looking for a Phenom account, there is a link below. Click it, sign up, I get the credit, and I also keep being motivated for to making these videos for you guys. Very excited and happy to do it. Also like and subscribe and do the normal stuff for the most part. But yeah, I haven't like spent any money or asked anyone to like push my channel or anything, but it seems like I'm getting close to 100 views a video right now, which is just really, really cool. Like I said, I'm just kind of throwing my comments out there from my experience of playing, and just a lot of fun. 3-4 here on the button. We're going to open. The only question is, do we keep the 10? And I usually don't keep a 10. I usually keep a 9, but not a 10. Especially since I can make a, I can undercut like just like that and just go straight to the, make a really good 3-card. And yeah, now we make a 7. So now we're just gonna put some action in with the 7-4 here. I would have definitely had an interesting spot there if he did not bet into me, because I think like a lot of times I should be raising the 3-card, the best 3-card. I think he played his hand totally fine. Kind of close actually between like calling there with the 9 versus 3-betting, but I think he played his hand totally fine. Do appreciate when people are very polite. I guess we'll play the drama round and call it, because I think was there a stud after that. Yeah, we'll play the drama and call it. Pat Jack here with 2 flush draws. Very strong 3-handed. I don't think there's that much rake in these tables. We flop a jack here against a range that could probably be pretty wide. So we're going to go ahead and bet. Stand pat with our jack. Plus we have a pair. If we didn't have a pair, it'd be a little bit more interesting whether to draw or pat. Depends on, like, again, the board texture is so important, because like you basically have like 2 equities in this hand. You have the against the 2-card draw, we're going to go ahead and bet. Even if you made like queen 10 here, we have the best low, so I'm not really scared of much. But you have 2 equities in the hand. You have a Omaha high hand equity, and queen 4 6 8 on the button here, double suited. We're gonna go open, and we're gonna ditch the king. But with a flush draw, straight draw, and a backdoor flush draw, we're gonna go ahead and bet this one. Sometimes I would check And we're going to break the king. We do make sixes full. So this is actually a really good hand to bluff with. Obviously, because like my high hand now is like almost locked up. Like if he's got, I don't know, 2 9s, like he's, well, I can't even think. Like this is just such a good hand now. Like he can't really have much because I have a 2 6s and a 4. So yeah, we get that one through. Like even if he makes a queen low or a jack low with like nothing else, it's really hard for him to call down. We're gonna fold this one. We have a 3-card jack. 3 4. Yeah, we're just gonna sit out next big blind and call it. We have a 4-card 10 here, or a pat queen, depending on the board texture. Again, it's really like important, like what the board texture is, what we do with our hand. We have a gut shot here with the queen, and we have no pair with the 8. I'm gonna go ahead and bet and pat my hand. If he's taking 2 in this situation, like I'm a favorite in the deuce round. I don't have any pairs, which obviously I want. Kind of the same thing here. Like I'm open-ended now with the queen. I'm just going to go ahead and bet this hand. If I get raised, I don't love it. And I do make this straight on the river, so I'm going to go ahead and bet for some sort of value. And he didn't have too many outs against my... he didn't have... Oh, actually he did. I thought I had 2 pair. I didn't. Queen 10 deuce 3 here on the button. I'm going to fold the queen 10 deuce 3 without the double flush draw. Well, I kind of have 2 flush draws depending on the board. But I'm going to go ahead and fold this one. And I'm sitting on next big blind. But until then, yeah, guys, like, subscribe, sign up for Phenom. Yeah, I'm super excited the way things are going, and happy to make the video. So until then, if you have any comments or questions, put them below. I'll get back to you. My email's in there too as well. And until then, I will talk to you guys soon. Play well. Good luck. Bye-bye.